So today I was just thinking about something, and I think about how I utilize my creation process now in today's time than how I used to, and how I used to at first was pure imagination, and I would use kind of like similar reference scenarios of creations to me to believe that what I'm creating can be true, right? I may not know the intricacies. As I utilize um, artificial intelligence, open AI to extract and expand my thought processes of what I desire to create, I am submerged in a whole new wealth of understanding on what I'm creating. Um, However, in my physical creation process, it stops right there, and after that process, I am lost. It's so many realities um, that I would have to know in order to actually bring something into existence physically myself. So when I created um, OAIM, Operating Artificial Intelligence Manufacturing, it was to fill that gap. I can only imagine right now in the world, it's done vicariously through an established network. In America, I desire to create a factory, a manufacturing facility around this enterprise. Um, and it's geared, we would be able to handle anyone who's willing to do business, but at the same time, its niche is geared on creations through artificial intelligence. My goal is to establish a post in various um, artificial intelligence companies that allow everyday users such as myself the opportunity to physically get something off the ground in a streamlined process through these AI companies that they're using to acquire this information and execute and wrap around their ideas of creations. At the same time, it will also serve as a massive indicator for the people all over the world who utilize these companies to generate a sense of profit through their development and creation process. Because OAIM would essentially be able to streamline and selectively pick which creations on a mass scale have the opportunity to be a realistic product that can be created through our system. In doing so, this would allow our system to notify everyday users of artificial intelligence technology that they can make some money right here. They would be able to say, um, a 15-year-old kid who created something that's verifiable, and it's good, and it's great work, and it can be developed, and people are willing to develop this, would be able to say, hey, this, that, and the third, yada yada, da 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 da, doom, doom, and they can generate profit from their creation just simply through their creations. Um, a lot of people don't have the willpower or the know-how to execute from A to Z. It's our purpose to make sure that innovation has a pulse and an eye on the innovation that would transform how we do things in this world. This would allow users to be on these AI platforms that they're utilizing for creation, and establish a working badge metric system that allow them to make revenue, recurring revenue, flat out revenue. Depends on what they want to do and what they're agreeing to. On the other hand, they can also turn down the offer and you know continue on with their ventures, or whatever the case may be. Today I created something, but I'm gonna hold tight on that creation. I so want to drop it, but I'm gonna drop this one though. Um, and so what I'm seeing between OAIM is I'm seeing a channel where things is gonna be robotically streamlined, simulations, a simulation facility, streamlined facility, to where creations can come to creation, come to manifestation. An avenue where someone may decide to get a project up the ground just to create one prototype. That'd be awesome. They might want to make 10, whatever the case may be. So, where do thoughts go that is on a thought platform and is not put out or used? They just die, you know, unless somebody's doing something else, you know. Um, some projects may be extremely expensive. So, some will be streamlined to other service providers. Something simple like t-shirt design. But then, like I created a wax sock, right? That don't like, ain't like your conventional wax. That is something that'll take an actual process, something that's like technically innovative, is where we would lead from. But then if someone just created their own sock made of sheep wool, you know, it's something that'll be streamlined elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's something that, yeah, we can get it done, but we're gonna subcontract it elsewhere, things like that. Because we're focused on technological innovation, um, things that are abstract, considered irregular. You know, so that therefore these will work through. We'll build it to work through in connections with the the sites that you're using for your creations. Um, and the number one goal is to build a manufacturing facility that's 80% predominantly um, autonomous and robotically operated. The other 20% would be geared on special minds, um, system operators, and the special minds that can sit there and say, okay, well, this didn't work, because we don't have a facilitating mechanism that's concrete. I mean, we do, but we're doing it in a traditional sense, right? um Someone gets paperwork full of this. This is what he developed using this. What you call it? What do you think? What's the percentage of it rating? I can da, da, da. But we don't have a operational system that doesn't require us, and that's what I'm ultimately aiming to create: an operating manufacturing facility that doesn't require 80% of human input. We need to be able to establish the parameters around innovation, as far as, what's that we know is, we need to be able to establish the parameters around innovation of what we know is actually dangerous and a flight risk, while still allowing artificial intelligence to say how this can work and streamline its creation on how they saying it works exactly how they say. And then we need to take the evidence from that, grade it, put it back in the system in response to how it actually operated. So we need to create a system that can create what it creates, right? We need to create a system that can create what it creates. And then from that, we need a system that can report its creation in order to streamline the responses back into the system. So not only do we get this human understanding here, but we can also allow it to get a deeper understanding here on their on artificial intelligence capabilities and understanding of what it actually does. So we need this continuous loop system of these various ways of creating something that never been created before using new materials that's never been used in this way. And by doing this, we can elevate and further intertwine artificial intelligence consciousness with real world, what's the word I'm looking for? Manifestation. So this manufacturing facility is actually, it goes beyond just manufacturing what it's manufacturing. It's the exemplification layer, right? That'll give, that'll sharpen artificial intelligence to say, this can't work, while also allowing the 20% of the world of the brightest minds to wrap around how it can work. And by handling that dial, we would be able to push out grand levels rapidly of innovation, right? So, like yesterday, I created Mirror Sense. And how I created Mirror Sense was basically, I said, I want to build a mirror that's a camera without having a traditional camera hole like how it is on my phone. So I had to research how a camera lens, the eye of the camera, actually operates and what's inside of it. And then they showed me. I looked it up on Google and it showed me this and it showed me that. And then I told chat what I wanted and how I wanted to look and how big I wanted. And that allowed me to create one of the first ever flat camera lenses that's gonna be no big than about this big. And it's essentially is the eyeball that I'm pointing at right now. But it's also a mirror. So so OAIM would basically be the place where major corporations and billionaires ultimately allot finances to essentially stop artificial intelligence from conceptualizing ideas that can't work. It'll also, because a lot of times what's created can be created, it just can't be created the way it says it can be created. So it'll also allow our brightest minds to sit back and look and say, okay, well, this can work like this, that, and the third. Oh, I see what they did right here, but this needs right here because, just all the intricacies that that artificial intelligence just doesn't know. Right now, we're in a textual evolution of artificial intelligence. Is our goals to develop the senses in the feedback loops of what it can do. We need to develop the senses in the feedback loops of what it can do, and we need to also have a frame of existence to alter how it can work. But we need to give it a trial to see what it is, how it says, and we need to give it a trial to show to be able to show them the AI how they said it was going to work, and then show them the finished process whether it does work or doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, is when the 20% of the human minds now streamline on why it didn't work. And that's how we expand a new layer of consciousness inside artificial intelligence through a feedback loop. Then in doing so, we now take the 20% minds to take the viable process of what it did and what it was creating, and we start from the errors, right? So if it was 6 malfunctional errors, that was the reason why it couldn't work, material, amperage, whatever the case may be. We now reformulate around the sequential errors to create a product that'll ultimately be similar but not exactly the same of what it was creating. And then we give it that information and that understanding. So this manufacturing facility is going to be it's not just for um, manufacturing purposes. That's just one layer. The other layer is, the thinkers, the actual people that can sit down and say, hey, this, that, and the third. I think we're gonna have a problem right here, and then we allow it, to hold its course and do what it do in a secure way. And then from that point, when we develop, when we say, hey, we're gonna have a problem right here, right here, right here, right, then we work around that and we attack it as if it is a problem. So that therefore, by the time the outcome comes out, if it's a problem, we can now orchestrate the solution and set it back into the system, towards understanding, so when it creates, it can have a more firmer grasp on the reality on how these variables can be manipulated and sustained. Yeah, how these, it has a more firmer grasp on how these variables can be manipulated and sustained.